I'm super excited about today's episode because today we're talking about boring golf. I'm super excited about today's episode because we're talking about how we can save strokes out on the disc golf course, especially on tournament day. A little bit better. Hey guys, what is up? It is Antonio. Welcome back to another episode here on Gladiator Disc Golf. I'm super excited about today's episode because we're talking about how we can dominate the competition every single tournament. Calling smart golf boring golf is definitely a disparaging term. Now, nobody's feelings are really going to get hurt by it, but it does make people think that it's not the fun way to play. But here's the thing about this so-called boring golf, or what we'll call strategy or strategic golf. When you play with strategy, you save strokes, and when you save strokes, you shoot better, and when you shoot better, you place better. When you place better, that's how you win. And last time I saw anybody who is into competition love to win, and winning is fun. Now, when we talk about strategy or strategic golf, we mean taking the shot with the highest percentage of success, or the shot that you feel most comfortable taking that's going to get you as close to the basket as possible. Learning to play smart golf oftentimes means taking your medicine and playing the smarter shot. Sometimes it's just better to pitch out rather than trying to make the hero shot when you know there's a really small chance of you actually making it towards the basket. In instances like these, it's important to realize that while you might be taking a stroke pitching out, you're probably saving at least one, maybe even two strokes on your score by not playing the hero shot. Oftentimes when we see players on Jomez, CCDG, Gatekeeper, and GK Pro, we see both male and female players taking some crazy cool lines. They're either throwing some ridiculous turnover flex shots, or they're throwing some crazy spike hyzers. And if you're like me and you've been watching disc golf for a while, you're probably thinking of Simon Lizotte. Now, don't get me wrong, Simon is a fantastic disc golfer. He is better than I will probably ever be. But that doesn't mean that he always plays the smartest golf. For example, a little over a year ago, he and Paul McBeth played around together and they swapped lines. Simon threw all of Paul's lines and the way he would throw the shot, and Paul threw Simon's lines. And guess who won? Simon did. Simon beat Paul throwing Paul's lines. Now, don't get me wrong, Simon is fun to watch, he's entertaining, and over and above all, he is an incredibly talented disc golfer. But there's a reason why Paul has 3 USDGC titles and 5 world championships. He plays the smarter golf. So that's why we want to emulate golfers like that who play smarter shots, especially when we're starting out. Eventually we could take crazy lines once we've built a solid foundation, but until that point, we want to play smart. Alright, so we've talked enough about what smart golf is, some examples of players who play pretty smart golf, and some who sometimes make some questionable decisions. Well, what are some actual applications that you guys can make out on the course that we can all implement into our game and actually see smart golf having a positive effect? The first thing is to know when to lay up and when to run the putt. When trying to figure out if a putt is worth the risk, you have to kind of do what's called a risk analysis. If I miss this putt, am I going to go long? Am I going to go OB? If I hit band or cage, is it going to roll? Is it going to somehow skip off the top of the basket and go who knows where? These are things you need to consider. And then you need to say, okay, if that happens, how's it going to impact my score? How's it going to impact my game? And honestly, by the time you get through all of those calculations, you're probably going to say, you know what? I'm just going to lay up. Like this example here. I have a disc that's pin high to the basket, but the thing is, it's about a 45 to 50 foot downhill run with water directly behind the basket. So if I miss, hit cage or band and start rolling, it's going to be OB. The aggressive player is going to run this and risk it and possibly miss. The smart play, the boring play, is sometimes to just lay up and take par. So while it's not nearly as fun, I didn't risk losing my putter, and I know I have a tap in par where it could have easily gone from birdie to bogey, and that's not smart golf. Another way of playing smart golf is to know that you can't birdie every single hole. We see it all the time in tournaments and in casual rounds, whether it's us or another person on the card or somebody we're seeing play a hole. We see a 400 or 500 foot hole and the person lines up to the hole and throws the biggest shot that they could possibly throw. They don't get anywhere close to the basket. Chances are they knew they weren't going to get anywhere close to the basket, but they were playing for the 0.0001% chance that they would get the most perfect throw in the world, the most perfect glide in the world, and settle right near the basket on this really long hole. Unfortunately, that's not the case for most players, so you need to know when to attack a hole and when to play for par. For example, on this hole, it's a pretty long hole and it's definitely made tougher with low-hanging branches and bent over trees and the fact that it is a right to left hole. So this is perfect for something like a backhand hyzer flip that's slowly just going to continue to fade forward, or for something like a slow turning forehand. But regardless of the shot you throw, it's going to be a tough hole. For most players who play this hole, you're probably just going to have to split it into 2 shots, not necessarily because you don't have the distance, but because it requires such technicality, and it's a lot easier to play for the par than to go for the birdie. I'm going to break it up into 2 throws. I'm going to play an eye right up the middle, that way it can sit down and give me a clear look at the basket. Whether I'm C2 or still in the fairway, it doesn't really matter to me because I'm playing for par on this hole. So here I am in the fairway, perfectly executed. I got a friendly kick off a branch that was really sticking out into the fairway, so I ended up here. So just like that, I parked the hole because I laid up, gave myself a nice open window, calmed down, and I hit the gap. All I did was play smart golf. One of the things you're going to notice when you start playing more intelligently and using strategy instead of just taking the shot you've always taken or throwing the shot that everybody throws is that it's going to mentally wear you out. And that's why I strongly encourage before a tournament that you practice this. You don't want the first time you start implementing smart golf to be when every single shot matters. You want to have some endurance with that. Just like you need physical endurance to play multiple rounds in a day, you need mental endurance to be able to think through every single shot. Because at the end of the day, if you want to get your rating higher, if you want to compete in higher divisions and eventually maybe make it on tour, you have to learn how to do this. You have to learn how to play smart. Because playing boring golf reinforces these skills, you're going to start seeing your rating increase and climb the leaderboards. And because of this, you're obviously going to grow in confidence. And what you're going to notice is you're going to build an unstoppable wave of momentum day in and day out, every single hole, to the point where you feel unstoppable out on the course. And that's basically all that there is to it, guys. You want to make sure you know when to lay up and when to run your putt. You want to know when you should maybe throw a couple shots on a hole and break it up into pieces versus attacking it, and working on your mental fortitude. So if you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. I truly appreciate it. And get ready for the next video. It's going to be right down here. I'll see you next time, guys. Have a great round.